at-tajalli of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not necessary that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is located in a place. Like in Surah Al-A'raf, when Musa alayhi salam requested from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the divine vision. The possibility of the divine vision occurred on earth, even though no one has visualized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth, the possibility occurred. So the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is simply a removal of the veils from the eyes. Once the veils have been removed, the believer sees Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala but never encompasses him. So لا تدركه الأبصار. The visions do not encompass Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وهو يدرك الأبصار. However, he comprehends all visions. So this notion that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended, and by ascending, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is located in an upward direction, is a false notion. Additionally, a question regarding the slave girl hadith, that when the slave girl was brought to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the case of the slave girl, where the slave girl, the Sahabi, famous incident, he became angry with the slave girl and he hit her, and he repented for this action. So when she was brought to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked her, Ayn Allah, where is Allah? And she said, Fis sama. And he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Man ana, who am I? And she said, you are the Messenger of Allah. And she said, and he said, free her, that فَأَعْتِقْهَا فَإِنَّهَا مُؤْمِنَةٌ. Free her, she's a believer. From this hadith, the Salafi movement have made it a task to ask people in Allah as a tenet of belief. Even though the hadith itself, there are two things to be stated. One is the word ain is not only for makan, location. It can come for al-makana, the status of something. So if someone says ain Allah, meaning where is Allah, and someone points at the sky and they say fis sama, it's to point out the loftiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something linguistically understood. Additionally, the idols were located in Al-Haram al-Sharif, and the disbelievers would point at the idols, and a distinction was made by her pointing up into the sky. Even though in one narration it is stated she was a mute, she could not speak. So because she could not speak, she pointed upwards. And likewise, in another narration it says she spoke and she said fis sama. But in different narrations of the same hadith, if you collate all the narrations of the same hadith, there are some versions of the hadith that do not even have fis sama, the wording fis sama, or ain Allah. Meaning if you collate all the various editions. So this hadith falls into the same category of those hadith that I mentioned previously, that when you pray and you are in your prayer, Allah is in front of you. Meaning this is interpreted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not literally in front of you. Likewise, this hadith of the slave girl is interpreted. The early disputes, meaning why are these disputes found between the Salafiyya movement, and where do the Salafis find their principles? They find these principles in the works of Abu al-Abbas Ahmad bin Taymiyyah. Ahmad bin Taymiyyah firstly wrote Fatwa al-Hamawiyyah al-Kubra in the year 698. When he wrote Fatwa al-Hamawiyyah al-Kubra, he ascribed a location for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning a literal location, and utilized statements of Salafus Salihun to validate that claim. So verses of the Quran that he took literally, and then a hadith, reports of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then ascribing statements to As-Salafus Salihun in order to validate the literal location of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of those statements is the statement of Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah ta'ala, where he states, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fawqa arshihi, is above his throne, and his knowledge is everywhere. Or the ba'inun min khalqihi, distinct from his creation. This is one of the statements that he utilizes. In order to say that Al-Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah ta'ala believed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be in a literal location separate from his creation. But the Asha'ira, or the scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, also accept this particular statement of Al-Imam al-Awza'i, like they accept the statement of Al-Imam Malik. But what they point out, like Al-Qadi ibn Jahbal and others, firstly, that Al-Awza'i rahimahullah ta'ala was refuting the Jahmiyyah. The Jahmiyyah believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is literally everywhere, and they denied the fawqiyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, loftiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the Ahl Sunnah ascribe loftiness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fawqiyah, what they say is that the meaning of this is fawqiyah mutlaqa. Fawqiyah mutlaqa is the unrestricted loftiness that is ascribed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like ma'iyya mutlaqa, the unrestricted witness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, but it does not mean He is with us the way a body or anything else is with us. Likewise, the fawqiyah, the loftiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mutlaqa. Likewise, al-ulub, the loftiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mutlaqa, meaning al-ulub al-mutlaq, meaning the loftiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not spatial location. He is not physically located in a place. So, he utilized this statement of Al-Imam al-Awza'i. Much of the confusion of Abu al-Abbas Ahmad bin Taymiyyah, if you actually go out your way to read his works, you will find numerous contradictions within his own positions that he holds. In some places he may hold one position, and in another place he will hold a different position. He relied on earlier works of the Hanabila, like As-Sunnah of Abdullah bin Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, or the book At-Tawheed of Ibn Khuzaymah. He utilized these works. And when he utilized these works, there are many statements of As-Salafu Salihun, or statements which are ascribed to As-Salafu Salihun in those earlier works. So if you ever discuss with a person from the Salafi movement, they will say our sources for these positions are found within As-Salafu Salihun. How are those positions found in As-Salafu Salihun? They will say from the books of the Sunnah, meaning from Bukhari, Muslim, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, and all these authentic works, or those works in which the majority of the hadith are authentic. So the main corpus of the hadith works. But then they will mention additional works, like the book As-Sunnah ascribed to Abdullah bin Ahmad bin Hanbal, or At-Tawheed, Kitab Al-Tawheed of Ibn Khuzaymah, or Ar-Raddu ala al-Jahmiyyah ascribed to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal.